Hello, I'm Ryan F9 and these are my favorite scooter tires. Let's start somewhere fun with the Michelin Powerpure SC. If I'm gonna try to get my knee down on a scooter, this is the tire to do it with. It's basically a Pilot Power 3 that someone left in the dryer too long. All the super sport technology, shrunk. The main thing about this tire is its dual compound. Now that's old hat in the sport bike world, but for scooter riders, the Powerpure was the first of its kind. Now the front of this tire is going to be an ultra soft, the rear is going to be a soft medium. What that basically means is that it has a firmer compound down the center belt and a softer compound on the edges, so you get maximum straight line stability and mileage while still having soft and supple cornering grip. Up top we have the same tread pattern as on the Pilot Power 3, it's a fountain style. And by that I mean that the center tread is going to grab water and then move it up and outwards like a water fountain. So this tire is going to stick to the pavement rather than sliding on the water, which is always good. The fountains are spaced though, leaving a slick center belt down the middle of the tire. And that's technically good for mileage, not only because it spreads the load across a larger area, but because there aren't any grooves in the main wear region. So when the cop pulls you over, he's going to have to measure the depth of one of these grooves a little bit off to the side, and they're still going to be deep enough to be legal. But who cares about mileage? The Powerpure SC is all about performance, and this smooth center band is like a tiny piece of MotoGP. When you're coming off the line or braking hard into a corner, you might as well be on racing slicks there. Now same goes for when you've got the scoot leaned all the way over, because Michelin has faded out the tread at the very edges to give us another slick band. That should provide maximum grip and responsiveness for anyone who actually has the balls to lean this tire that far down. Speaking of which, the carcass of the Powerpure SC is made from ultra rigid plies. So if you do happen to lean this tire all the way over, the sidewall is going to stay stiff, it's going to keep its shape, it won't get squirrely on you. Now this guy is available in 12 to 15 inch rim sizes. Most of them will run you around $70, and they're suitable for scooters anywhere between 50 and 650 cc's, which is pretty much all of them. Now those of you on smaller displacement machines might be tempted away by the Michelin Bopper, but don't be. The Powerpure is better. Now, maybe I don't ride my scooter like a total hooligan. I mean, maybe I care more about sensible things like ride comfort, safety, longevity. In that case, I'll take the Michelin City Grip. Now at this point, one of you is going to write a conspiratorial comment down below about Michelin paying me to choose their stuff or something. So for the record, no. I just like this tire best. It happens to be the case. There are 2 Michelins in this video. Sue me. If you tour long distances or commute every day on your scooter, well, this is a really good choice because it lasts forever. I mean, the center belt is going to be this slick, so the load is spread very well, and it's a hard rubber compound that wears slowly. If you look at the sidewall, you can see that it's reasonably high. And what you can't see, and what I can tell you, is that it also happens to be very soft. So this tire really soaks up the bumps. It results in a butter smooth ride quality. And when it comes to wet weather safety, this tire is going to be absolutely worlds ahead of that Powerpure that we saw earlier. See these center grooves here? Well, they actually evacuate water all the way out the shoulders. This is a much better rain tire. And then we have the tiny micro sipes all the way along too, just to hold water away from the contact patch. I do wish that these sipes were larger though, because as it is, they won't be able to hold much water before filling up. Michelin had the clever idea to dot the sipes with deeper reservoirs on their Pilot Road 4 tire. But for some annoying reason, they didn't do the same thing here. Anyway, this tire is still the best option for places like Montreal. I mean, our roads are covered in salt, dirt, gasoline, beer, maple syrup, potholes, sinkholes. It's a ruddy mess, and the City Grip can get across all of it safely. Sizes in this guy run from itty bitty 10 inchers all the way up to monstrous 16s like this one. Most of them are well priced south of $100. Now, how cool is this thing? It's a Michelin M6024 and I started laughing the minute I took delivery of it. That's because mounting a hardcore ADV tire onto a scooter is about the most fun you can have for $60. And yes, this is that cheap. It's a big block tread pattern here, not dissimilar to the iconic Continental TKC80. And just like the Contis, Maxxis made this M6024 out of a very soft rubber compound, and they give it a pretty angular profile. So while this is a totally competent off-road tire, it's also going to carve and stick to the pavement. I mean, you can burn up the twisties and tear up the trails with this guy in one afternoon. And yes, I've kind of chosen my words carefully there. Burn up the twisties, tear up the trails, because that's exactly what's going to happen with this tire. It's a shredder. It's built for a good time, not a long time, so don't start crying when it goes bald very fast. While I really love this tire, it does piss me off in 2 areas. One of them is going to be the speed rating. This is a J tire. J is in just 100 kilometers an hour, or you're going to be picking tread knobs out of your teeth. The other issue that I have is going to be with the sizing. Now Michelin released the M6024 in 2 very specific sizes that just so happen to be the front and rear tire specs for the Honda Grom. So that's great if you're a Gromster, and it's great if you're one of those few scooter riders that actually uses those wheels as well. but for everyone else, this is going to be a no-go. Pretty sad. You could check out the Pirelli SL60 or the Michelin Reggae for good alternatives. Now, what if I'm one of those guys who rides a scooter because it's cheap? Well, Kenda offers the K329 for us stingy bastards, and oh man, is this thing cheap. Smaller sizes start north of 20 bucks, and the larger ones top out around 50. What else can I say? The performance on the K329 is straight up garbage. I mean, it comes off the factory line looking pretty flat on top, and it's meant to stay that way. I mean, if you take even the slightest enjoyment out of hitting a corner, don't buy this tire. But hey, I mean, I'm being cheap here, so I probably care more about mileage. And thanks to the mammoth-wide contact patch on this guy, it's actually pretty good. The K329 has good rain safety too. We have these big center treads here that are going around water to the outside of the tire, and then there's a ton of microsipes on here to soak up the leftovers. Feedback on this tire is certainly nothing to write home about, but I mean, if you don't really care what happens with your tires as long as they stay under you, well, the K329 will do the job. You can get a bunch of 10-inch wheel sizes on this guy. Some of them are going to be tube type, some of them are going to be tubeless. You know, this is going to be your Honda Jazz, your Vespa, a bunch of really small displacement scooters are going to play nice with K329s. And did I mention that they're cheap? For my final top pick, style points. Of course, I'm going to run to Italy when it comes to choosing a stylish scooter tire, so this is the Pirelli SL38. I do wish Pirelli named this after something cooler than a calculator, but whatever, at least it looks good. The tire has this wild geometric pattern where the inner sipes match the shape of each tread block. It's totally cool. You'll find this wheel on a billion Vespas between here and Pontedera, and no matter what anyone says, they bought it for the style. Pirelli does have some half-hearted rationale about this being a sport touring tire. And yeah, I mean, the stiff carcass does mean that the cornering is fairly stable, and the angular profile makes the turn-in pretty quick. But I mean, come on, let's be honest, right? This tread pattern is not really motivated by performance. I mean, the center strip is a hot mess, the water siping all doubles back on itself. I mean, the sidewall tells me that it's supposed to rotate this way, but well, for the life of me, I can't see why that would make any difference. Anyway, I shouldn't be too hard on the little guy because it actually handles just fine. I'm only trying to make the point that if you are going to buy this tire, buy it for the looks, especially because at $90 for 10 and 11-inch sizes, you could get a lot more performance for less money. So that's it for my favorite scooter tires. Thank you guys very much for watching.